Good morning, Sonder fam. Hello. Welcome to Sunday morning on this Memorial Day weekend. Hopefully, a lot of you have it off tomorrow. But if you don't, I'm sorry. Hopefully, that will be okay. And maybe your day will be nice and calm. But anyway, we have Sunday here. Um, and yes, I was debating on which song to play this morning. I was like, do I want a nice mellow song or do I want like a high energy upbeat song? I wasn't sure. I always feel like Sunday mornings are maybe a little more mellow, a little more calm. So we went with a little Taylor Swift, a little piece this morning. Yeah, so everybody's like, you can't go wrong with Taylor. And yes, it does have the word integrity in the lyrics there. So I thought, why not, right? Gotta go with a little Taylor this morning. So, welcome to our weekly setup as we get ready to set up this last week of May. And it is very confusing because Memorial Day is so early and there's still another weekend left in May, which I feel like is kind of confusing. But y'all know I'm super happy that June, my birthday month, is starting on a Monday. Super excited. So I'll take it. Um, so I appreciate everyone. I brought you donuts. See, wasn't that nice of me? I brought you donuts this morning. I saw lots of delirious double chocolate donuts. Bailey and I were talking about how we were maybe spiteful strawberry sprinkles because we were having a little obnoxious tech issues going on this morning. And I had internet issues last night. Luckily, I didn't have to get on, but it's just one of those things where sometimes I get irrationally angry with tech issues. So, and then I get mad because I'm mad at something like the internet and tech. And so it's just a vicious cycle. So, but anyway, everything's good now. Hopefully, everything will be all good and we will be here. Um, so, welcome. We want to make sure that your chat is set to everyone. It has that obnoxious tendency to switch back and forth to the host and panelist. And when it does that, the only people that can see what you type are myself and my fabulous co facilitator, Bailey, who is hanging out in the chat and she can help answer any questions. I try to keep an eye on the chat, but sometimes I'm very easily distracted and I will lose my train of thought if I hang out too much in the chat. So sometimes I have to kind of ignore it a little bit so that I can make sure I tell you all the fun stuff that we have to tell you in our hour together. So, just a few other little community guidelines for those of you. Maybe, I don't know, is anybody new? Is this anybody's first social, first time with Silk and Sonder? You can just put a little me in the chat or say, I'm new, want to say welcome. And make sure that you know, oh, me, Ariana is new. Make sure that you switch that little blue box to everyone so that everyone can see what you are typing. I want to welcome everyone. I know I see lots of familiar names that are there in the chat. And the nice thing about these socials is you are not on screen. You are not that we can't hear you. Your mics aren't on. You can't turn them on even if you wanted to. So if there's other craziness kind of going on in the background, you don't have to worry about any of that. The only people you can see are myself and Bailey. Well, you can't really see Bailey because she's not on camera either. So it's just me. And so we want to make sure that you're kind to both yourself and to others. No promotions or spam. We respect everyone's privacy. No hate speech or bullying. Limiting those repetitive product and accessory questions. It's fine to ask folks where they got stickers or pins that don't bleed through, but honestly, the best place for that is in our Sonder Club app because then people can post links and pictures and all those kinds of things. All of those redirect, all of those customer care inquiries. So we redirect our customer care inquiries to our team, headquarters team, hello at silkandsonder.com. Bailey and I do not have access to your accounts. We can't fix mailing addresses or update your credit card information or any of that kind of stuff. So those all go there. Just know that they are a Monday through Friday, 9 to 5 Pacific Coast folks, and they probably are off tomorrow as well. So just if you email them with anything, kind of a little bit of grace there. Someone was asking about Sonder Club on the computer. You can't access it. It doesn't have like a website that you can get to. But if you link your phone, like I have where it's like my phone is linked to my computer, and then I can basically project my phone is on my screen. on my laptop screen. So you can kind of do it that way. But otherwise, it's pretty much just a phone. Yeah, Tanya, I wish I could fix your bank account problems. I wish I could fix everyone's bank account problems, right? My own included. Um, and then ultimately remember that these socials are a tool to help elevate your emotional health through the power of community. And we have a fabulous, supportive community, creative, so smart, so many wonderful people here. But ultimately, you're responsible for your own emotions, well-being, and decisions. So if there's ever like something that just we're working on that just isn't your jam, you're just not kind of feeling it, feel free to do whatever you want. This is your hour, your time to do what you want to do. So if the music I'm playing isn't your jam, you can mute that. If my voice isn't your jam, you can mute me. Luckily, my cold, I think, has gone away now, so I don't have the gravelly, raspy voice. I still get a little bit of a cough because it still is kind of going away, but we have closed captioning enabled. So you do what you need to do for this hour here. So, and thank you for people saying that I'm always their jam. I love that. So this is our, I don't want to say this is our last week of integrity. Like, oh, you don't have to worry about integrity after this week, but it's our last week of focusing on integrity as a theme. So I know lots of folks have been kind of digging into this idea of integrity. It's been very eye-opening for some of us to really have that kind of front and center. And I think that's the thing that with these themes, it doesn't mean that we stop thinking about those themes, but it just kind of brings it front and center for us to really kind of investigate for a month, and then we move on to something else. And I'm super excited about next month's. I won't give it away if folks don't have it yet, but I think next month will be super, super fun. But this idea of integrity this month has been, like I said, it's been really eye-opening to really kind of examine thoughts and actions and behaviors. So you can see I've got like being a person of integrity doesn't mean being perfect, right? We break up with perfect here at Silk and Sonder, but it means being authentic. And really, it's about choosing your thoughts and actions based on your values rather than personal gain. So really kind of thinking about our values this month has been definitely something that's interesting. Again, kind of revisiting that. What are my values? What do I think is important to me? And then integrity is oftentimes is that choice between what's convenient and what's right. And that's definitely been something that I've definitely been kind of sitting with this month, right? Kind of thinking about the thing that's convenient, the thing that's easy versus the thing that's right. Because doing the thing that is right sometimes can be hard. It can be a stretch. It can be scratchy. It can be potentially alienating. Some people don't like it when you are kind of trying to live in integrity and assert that and really kind of make your values known, setting those boundaries, right? So it's definitely can be it can be tough, right? So I appreciate everyone's hard work on that this month as we work through that theme. So this morning we are going to do our last week of the integrity mind map. Next weekend is still a weekend in May, so, but we're going to do we'll do like the June setup, and then we'll do a bonus mind map. So it'll kind of be a transition in between the 2 months. Then we're going to do our rosebud thorn activity, always doing a little reflecting, and then we'll do those weekly setup pages. So I always have these two cartoons here to illustrate a couple of points. The first one is there's room for you here just as you are, happy, sad, excited, grumpy, like all the things. We're here for all of that because we know life is just that series of ups and downs. So sometimes we can share wins and sometimes we share challenges, and we're here for all of that. You don't have to censor or limit kind of what you're saying based on where you are. We're here to support you in that. And then the way that you feel matters, and no emotion you feel is bad or unworthy. So nobody can tell you, oh, you shouldn't be mad about that, or you should be happy about this, right? We just, our emotions are what they are. And a lot of what Silk and Sonder gives us is that time to sit with them and reflect and to kind of feel the emotion, feel the feeling, and feel what that's going to be like moving forward. So let's dive into that last piece of the mind map. If you are new and you have not done the first 3 weeks, that is absolutely okay. You can set it up if you want to still in these different sections. You can go back and do the last 3 weeks, but you do not have to. I always tell people you don't have to catch up. You're not behind. If you want to do the first 3 weeks, you can, or you can write them down. Do a screenshot. I would recommend doing a screenshot of this page so that you can kind of think on it. Honestly, the time we give you to work on these mind map questions is very, very brief. It really is just kind of a little, like a little teaser, right? Like a little taste of this is the question. And then it's really good to think about it and focus on it for that week. So this is week 4. So we're going to look at integrity as it relates to our habits and our lifestyle. So thinking about daily choices plus discipline. So our question is, do my actions reflect the person I say I want to become? And I told Bailey, I was like, ooh, why you got to call me out so early on a Sunday morning? I was like, oh, ouch. Like that can hurt sometimes, right? So you can see I do my integrity mind map on the expense tracker page. So it's kind of a nice linear. Some people do kind of some fun little things like on a blank page with the colors. But I think this is really important to kind of think about. Do your daily actions reflect who you want to become? Oh, Michelle likes to do the scratch pad for this. Yeah, this is perfect too for the week. You can write that in the scratch pad. So it's kind of front and center for you all week. So I think this is something that I've heard often is this idea of show me your calendar and your bank account, and I'll show you what is most important to you in your life because they don't lie, right? Again, I think sometimes I'm like, oh, ouch again, right? It's like, ooh, yeah, we say some things are important, but then if you look at what's on our calendar, if you look at what's in our how we're spending our money, what we're spending it on, our time and our money definitely will illustrate what that looks like. So this might be a time when you're reflecting on this question, go back and look at your calendar, look through your bank statement. Of course, I'm like, has anybody balanced their check? Like, nobody has a check? Does anybody write checks anymore? I write one check every 90 days when the bug spray people come and I pay them with a check, right? Yeah, Nicole says she writes some checks, but it's very, very few. And I haven't balanced my account. And does anybody even know how to do that? Like I remember I used to do that. You get the bank statement and you get the canceled checks and you would kind of do that. Oh, Nicole uses Rocket Money. I have Monarch. That I've been using this year because I got a really good deal on it. It's been kind of interesting, but yeah, but it is interesting to really kind of look at what that looks like. Yeah, somebody's like, I can't remember the last time I balanced my account, but it really is very telling, right? When you look at what you're spending money on, what categories, where that money comes from, and really kind of thinking about what that means. And then the other little quote that I have on here is what you do in private always shows in public. Reading shows in conversations, your workout shows in your physique, and your diet shows in your energy, your discipline shows in your confidence, your focus shows in your results. You are what you cultivate when no one is watching. And I think this is a good chance for us to really kind of reflect on our activities, reflect on our what we say we want to become, and kind of see what that looks like. Yeah, Annie's saying she spends too much time on the phone games. Yeah, my time on the phone, I really want to do like a day, like a tech sabbatical, or maybe it's just a phone sabbatical because it's hard to do a tech sabbatical because I work on the computer. So it'd be hard to do that. But I always say that I'm going to do it. And then for whatever reason, I don't do it. So maybe this is the week when I figure out when I can do that. Because yeah, it's so easy to scroll. So I will let you work on this. Feel free to share in the chat kind of what you're thinking for that question. Do your daily actions reflect the person that you say you want to become? I will play just a little bit of music and then we'll check back in and keep moving on. All right. Thank you all so much for reflecting in the chat. I love Annie said that she was adding, oh shoot, now where is it? Now I have to scroll back up here. What was she going to add? Annie added in the question of what small change can I make this week to become more aligned? And that helped her feel a little more settled with the prompt. And I love that, right? Because just kind of listing out, do my daily actions reflect the person I say I want to become? You might get stuck kind of in a cycle of like, oh no, my actions aren't really reflecting it. This is bad. This is bad. But it's like, okay, it's not bad. It's not good. It's just what it is. It's just some data, right? And so now we're going to kind of move forward and say, what are some changes I can make if they're not aligned, if things are not really what I say that I value and the person that I want to become. So I know I definitely will say I want to be healthy, right? I want to move more. And then what do I do when I get home from work? I plunk my butt in the chair and watch TV. That is not helpful. So, really kind of thinking about, okay, my action is what I tell myself a lot of times is after I eat dinner, I'm going to go for a 10-minute walk. It doesn't have to be, it can only be 10 minutes, right? It has to be at least 10 minutes, but I can stop after 10. And I often find that even after 10 minutes, I kind of want to keep walking, right? I'm kind of enjoying being outside and doing that. But sometimes I'm like, yep, 10 minutes is it. That's enough. That's all I want to do. And then I'm going to go back in. But I've done that. So it's really kind of thinking what that looks like. And then some other folks were talking about adding in the question about the calendar and the bank account. Where are you spending your time? Where are you spending your money? And then where do you want to spend your time? Where do you want to spend your money? And then starting to make those small changes to get there. And it's one of those things where, we all get the credit card debt is real, right? It's very easy to just put things on that credit card and then realize that debt kind of mounts. So really kind of giving yourself a little bit of time, a little bit of grace to think about, okay, how can I maybe make a little bit more of a payment? What are some things maybe I can do without? What are maybe some things that I can cancel or not do or save some money in some way so that I can kind of get those things paid off because that interest will get you, right? So it's definitely tricky. So I appreciate everyone kind of spending a little bit of time kind of thinking about that, thinking about how your actions are reflecting the person that you say you want to become. And I saw a lot of folks talking about consistency, and that really is a key as well. And I even have a little graphic on one of the slides that I'll show you that kind of talks about consistency. But let's jump over to our rosebud thorn over on page 50, where we're going to do just a little bit of reflecting on this past week, thinking about our rose, something that was really fun, something that we loved. Our bud is something that we're looking forward to. And then our thorn is that challenging, stressful, maybe thing that's out of your control. So I always like to start with my thorns so I get the icky part out of the way. And then, so for me, I'm on the HOA board here in our community. We had an HOA meeting on Thursday. It was like super stressful. We got through it, but it's just there's some folks that just really like to be contrary and butt heads. And it just is something that I just kind of take a deep breath and kind of try to deal with and move forward. So, and I was telling Bailey there was our swimming pool opened, community swimming pool opened yesterday. So it opens on Memorial Day weekend. And I had a woman who's in the community who's very grumpy and likes to send grumpy emails all the time. And she sent an email that was to me and a couple other board members that said, I thought the swimming pool wasn't supposed to be open until Memorial Day weekend, but there's people out there in the pool, and I don't think the chemicals are, they might be hazardous. And I just wanted you to know they shouldn't be out there. And I had to write back and say, yeah, it actually is Memorial Day weekend. Memorial Day is Monday, so the pool is open, but thanks for your concern. So that's definitely a bit of a thorn. Our bud, that emerging opportunity. I have a kind of impromptu trip to Seattle, not this week, but next week. I'm going to be visiting a friend and going to go to a knitting retreat that we haven't been to for a while. So super excited for that. So planning for that. And then my rose, my highlight, we went and saw Mandalorian and Grogu yesterday. It was so fun. It was so cute. Grogu is just, he just is doing cute little Grogu things. All day, and it's just super cute and fun. And we are actually going to go and see it again today because it was so much fun. We have the AMC A list, so it makes it very easy to see multiple movies for not too much money every month. So that'll be fun. So um, feel free to let us know in the chat your rose, your bud, your thorn, any of those things. And then I'll play just a little bit of music and then we'll check back in and we'll keep moving on. All right. Thanks everyone for sharing those rose buds and thorns there in the chat. I know we have a lot of folks who are excited. School is almost out. I feel bad in our district because they're making the kids come back Tuesday, Wednesday, and then Thursday they get out early. And I keep thinking, gosh, I always thought Memorial Day was kind of the end for a lot of the schools here, but we have just those few days left. And they're making the high schoolers are having to do finals on Tuesday and Wednesday. So making them come back. So making sure they don't disappear with their families on a longer vacation. So I'm like, oh, sorry. And I know some schools go until June, so it's not like that's totally unusual. But I feel like usually with most of the Denver Metro schools, they usually get out for Memorial Day weekend. But oh well. So it's always so good. I appreciate everyone taking just a little bit of time to think of that. I saw a couple folks kind of saying, well, my weekend was kind of, or my week was kind of boring, not a lot of stuff going on. So it took me a while to really kind of dig and think of that rose. But it's important to think of it. And the rose doesn't have to be something huge, right? It could be something small. It could be, you saw a little flower bud that's blooming or something, or you saw maybe a hummingbird or something kind of fun. So just keep in mind, it's always good to have that rose bud and thorn. And these are really good pages to go back to when you do your monthly setup. So you can remember what happened during the week when you're reflecting on the month, right? You can kind of get a quick snapshot of what went on there. So let's dig into our weekly planner over on page 52 and 53. I had to use this. I just realized why this month is called May. It may rain, it may snow, it may be 70 degrees, or it may be 20 degrees because we did have some snow last week, which was really weird. I had when I left for work, it was lightly snowing, and which is kind of late here for Colorado. Not unheard of, but it was a little late. But happily, the mountains have been getting a lot of snow, which has been great because that's where we want it, in the mountains. So we get that snowpack, so we don't have to deal with all that drought. So up at the top of the page, up at the top of page 52, right? It's that how I want to feel. So really thinking about kind of how you want to show up, that word that will help you kind of think about how you want to feel, how you want your actions to support those feelings. So you can see here's some examples of different things that different folks have done. Want to feel loved, want to feel positive, want to feel happy. You can think of it as a more or less. I want to feel more rested and energized, less scattered and exhausted. I like the idea of the more and less. Maybe it's several words, maybe it's a phrase. So one person had the acronym CALM, which stands for centered, accomplished, alive, and mindful. Maybe it's a mantra or an affirmation that you really liked, a sticker you want to pop in there. Michelle, is yours the center, the calm? I love that. That's really cute. And I like the acronym and kind of how you want to feel. Maybe it's a picture or a quote, or maybe it's last week's word. If last week's word worked well, bring it over, right? It doesn't have to be a brand new word every week. Maybe you really like that word and you just kind of want to bring it over. Maybe you have a word of the year that you like to pop in there every week. And so that is awesome. It doesn't have to change unless you want it to. Oops. Oh, and then I'm also going to talk about the weekly major 3 goals. So I often feel if you can set up your goals well, they will, and accomplishing those will help you feel that feeling, right? So, for example, some of those, if you want to feel peaceful, maybe some of your goals are to give yourself more time to relax, to maybe give your spend some time meditating, kind of thinking about the goals as they relate to that feeling. I did pop in, I've got lots of little fun graphics here with different like bucket lists of different things you can do. So maybe your goal is to pick some things off the bucket list, find the best ice cream spot. Maybe it's volunteering somewhere, taking a day trip to the lake. Lots of fun little things that you can pop in there. Maybe those goals you want to go back and use. It's supposed to say May. And I keep thinking I'm going to fix this and I always forget. Using your intentions page on page 9. Maybe it's looking at your monthly habit tracker on page 11, setting your goal through the lens of integrity. Maybe it's some no goals that you want to write down. My goal is to find this little swing set in the tree in this pretty field of flowers and go sit on that and swing. I think that would be super fun. I want to spend some more time outside. Maybe there's some things in previous weeks that you want to bring forward. Maybe you want to frame your goals around a personal challenge, like maybe you have a fitness challenge. A lot of us were talking about we wanted to do more walking, or I saw some folks talking about they wanted to start doing some weight, some resistance training. Maybe that's one of your goals is to start up, come up with a good resistance training plan. And you don't have to do that every day. Really, 2 times a week, some good resistance training your muscles will thank you. Your older self will thank you. Definitely be happy. Maybe it's some cleaning or decluttering, some self-care. Maybe it's a new recipe. Again, here's some more fun icons here. We've got the little May bucket list, some less rushing and more noticing. So maybe you want to do some more journaling, some more slow reading, some more thoughtful conversations, time outdoors. I really need to get outdoors more. I don't know what stops me. I don't know. I keep thinking I need to go outside and then for some reason I don't. So I need to figure out how to make that happen. Here's some other things that folks have done, wanting to feel restful and calm. So their goals are taking care of themselves so that they get well, slowing down and doing one thing at a time and not overcommitting, right? So those goals, yeah, Bailey, maybe it is the bugs that stop me, but honestly, Colorado, we don't have a whole lot of bugs. So I can't really use that as an excuse for the outside. Maybe you want to set up some goals around frog, fun, and fierce. So frog is the eat the frog, comes from that book that talks about doing the hardest thing first. And then you've kind of got that checked off your list. Something fun and something fierce. So something outside your comfort zone, kind of thinking about that. One person wanted to feel present and grounded. So their goals were breathe, move, and notice. Someone wanted to feel invigorated. So they had a mind, body, and soul goal. So love that. Grounded and joyful. And so then their goals are around doing things that will help them feel grounded and joyful. If goals are not quite your jam, maybe you set yearly goals. And so there's not necessarily time for a weekly goal. Maybe it's some favorite quotes or some podcasts, movies, TV shows to watch, some fun new reads, fun things to do in May. Some songs of the week, some topics you want to know more about, some new recipes, a new bingo, little mini bingo board, any of those things to kind of set those up. So I'll be quiet, play just a little bit of music, and then we'll check back in and keep moving on. All right, everyone. Thank you for sharing again, sharing those feelings, how you wanted to feel, and then thinking of those three goals. I should have mentioned also, perhaps it is you want to focus on one goal. You don't want to have three goals. Absolutely fine, right? Maybe writing down one thing that you really want to work on. So this week, your goal maybe is really you want to get outside. You want to go outside. And so you're going to really focus on that, not try to think of other things, really, really wanting to set up maybe the to dos and these habits and activities as ways to help you get outside. So moving over to those to dos, again, this can be just a straight up to do list, things that you wanted to, things that you need to get done. But lots of other ways to do it. Some people like to use the Eisenhower decision matrix. So, really, the way that works is you make like a big master list of all the things that you want on your to-do list, and then you plug them into this matrix, right? So deciding if something is important and urgent, so you do it, figuring out how to do it now, how to get that done. If something's important but it's not urgent, maybe you decide, you schedule a time when that's going to happen. If it's not important but it's urgent, maybe you can delegate it, who can do it for you. And if it's not important and it's not urgent, maybe it's something you can delete, completely eliminate. Maybe it's something you can delay or defer, or maybe it's something, when you think about different things, donate to somewhere, kind of thinking of that. So that's kind of how that Eisenhower matrix setup works. You can see some other folks have done things like don't do this instead, which is great way to help break a habit or make a new habit that's more what you want, right? When we talked about the things that are on your calendar or your activities that you're doing, and are they aligned with the person you say you want to be? Maybe you're doing some things like spending mindless time scrolling and you're like, that's not really who I want to be, that's not really aligned, so I need to do this instead, something creative. So figuring out, maybe it's taking up a new hobby, maybe it's knitting or crochet or doing some watercolors, doing some sketching, doing something fun and creative. So good idea for ways to do that. A bingo board. We all love a good bingo board, so that's always fun to set up. Someone said they need to watch some of the recording of the social that was on Thursday night. I kind of want to watch it because I've heard folks said it was really good. I think Jen O was doing that one. So maybe it's you want to go back and watch the coloring social, or you want to go back and watch one of our older socials, and putting this in like a fun little bingo board. Maybe that's one of the things that you can kind of put in there. I also like the person who said step by step, right? Again, they're talking about small steps, baby steps. Maybe again, it's that kind of like you do here's the actions I'm doing, and here's what I want to change to make them more aligned. So kind of thinking along those lines. Spring energy givers, right? We always want some things that'll maybe help give us some energy. Maybe it's some seasonal foods. I bought some apricots the other day at the grocery store, and they were not very good. They were very, very flavorless, which makes me sad. A lot of the fruit I feel like lately has been kind of like bleh. Um, so maybe I can find some better seasonal. Maybe I need to go to a farmer's market and find some things that will be tasty. And then also I have the summer bucket list. This is from the group Ordinary and Happy. You can find them on Instagram. You can also sign up for their daily newsletters, and they give you all sorts of fun little things to pop on there. Nicole, I will be stage managing. I will be in the background tomorrow for tomorrow's social. Jennifer O will be doing that one, I believe. So here's some fun. There's got some outdoor things, some indoor things, some fun things, some family things, some friends, self-care ideas, romantic ideas. So that's kind of fun. This is great. And then our habits and activities, or those habities, as I called them when I was talking one time far too fast. Here's that little consistency picture that I was telling you about, right? This isn't real consistency. We think consistency looks like that top picture, right? Same amount all the time, looks exactly the same. But this is real consistency. It happens every day. There's a little bit of liquid in each glass, but it looks different, right? It's what can you do that day? Sometimes the getting outside, maybe it's 5 minutes. 5 minutes, you just sit outside and sit in the sun. Some days it might be you spend an hour, you go to the park and you hang out. Then the next day, again, it's maybe a 5 minute walk around the block. Really thinking about consistency is not this all or nothing. And we really get into that. I am totally guilty of it. Well, I didn't get outside at all today, so never mind. I blew that, right? I can't do anything. So I like to talk about sometimes we need this is my perfect world plan, and this is my in case it's not a perfect world this week, right? What that looks like. So when I say I want to get outside, maybe my habit is going to be I want to get outside for a minimum of 5 minutes every day, but maybe sometimes that's longer. Same thing with walking, same thing with lifting weights. Maybe it's I want to, do some resistance training. Maybe all I do is I have some little 5 pound dumbbells and I do just some like overhead shoulder presses. And I do like 3 sets of 10 with those. And that's what I do one day. Then the next time maybe I do a lot more. Again, right? It's that kind of this is what real consistency looks like. A little bit or a lot every day, but it happens every day, right? So that habit and activity, again, these can be things, they can be similar to what you have on that habit wheel. Really, our habit wheel is something we want to do every day this month. And these habit and activities are really kind of specific to the week, right? So maybe it's things like you want to do the daily ritual, but you only want to do it 5 times this week. Or maybe it's, I saw several people had sewing on there, right? So again, some creative sew for 15 minutes. Maybe I want to knit 1 row on whatever project I'm working on, taking a social media break, doing some upper body workouts. Meredith is saying doing weightlifting to a song. I love that idea. I do that sometimes. I'll do like a dance in the kitchen for one song kind of thing. I also like one person put instead of necessarily habits and activities, they said, I want to be level headed, educated, active, playful, and tidy. And then they'll do activities that will help align with that, how they want to be. And I think that is a great idea as well, kind of thinking about this is how I want to be. And these are the activities that I can do that will help me be that person. So excellent idea there. And then we also, of course, have the May Whimsy Challenge kind of wrapping up there. 31 days of adding a little sparkle to your life. Then there's also the Silk and Saunders 31 days of integrity. So we're on, what is today? Today's 24. What's one small habit that improves your day? Look how nicely that works out, right? That's one of the things that's on that integrity, 31 days of integrity. So we have that. So I will be quiet. Let us know what you're doing in those to-dos and those habits and activities. I'll cycle back through these slides and then we'll check back in and keep moving on. All right, everyone. Thank you for sharing in the chat different things you're going to use for this. And I saw some folks saying, like, I don't really use the habits and activities on the weekly. I focus more on that habit wheel, the monthly habit wheel, and that is absolutely fine. I've also seen people use the habits and activities. One of the things that they'll write down there is to make sure they check in with their habit wheel, right? Make sure they're tracking what that's looking like. They'll also remind themselves to go back to the intentions from the month so that you can kind of see what's in there. Yeah, Meredith, I wish the Zoom chat would let us kind of respond to people's chat. I wish it was more like it is in a webinar setup as opposed to or in a meeting setup as opposed to the webinar setup. But I know someday they'll fix it, maybe. I don't know. But thanks again for kind of sharing what you're going to do in those to-dos, what you're going to do in that habit and activity. And some people, again, maybe that the habit and activity part here on the weekly isn't your jam. So you can just put lots of stickers, right? Remember, our stickers love to be stuck places. They fulfill their sticker destinies. So put them, don't be afraid to put them anywhere in your journal, put them all over your journal. They will be very, very happy. So let's flip over to that B side now on page 53. Katie, one of our other facilitators, always calls this the B side, right? We don't always flip the record over, which means sometimes we don't always use this B side. I think this page is probably one of our more heavily repurposed, or it's kind of fun because you can really switch it up each week to kind of see what you need for the week, what this week looks like. Of course, since we're off on Monday, not everyone, but if we're off on Monday, sometimes that kind of throws our week off a little bit. So we have to kind of make sure that we're keeping track of kind of what's going on so that we don't lose that day. So we've got our meal plan. Obviously, you can use it to plan what you're going to eat. You can use it to keep track of what you're eating, but there's lots of different ways that you can repurpose this. This is a big space. And so some people are like, oh, I already use something, an app on my phone that kind of plans food or tracks what I'm eating. So again, lots of different ways to kind of use this page. Maybe it's our exercise tracker, maybe it's our time outside tracker, maybe it's an outfit tracker. I do like to use this when I'm traveling, when I plan out what I'm going to wear each day so that I don't overpack. It works out really, really well. Maybe it's a gratitude log. Maybe you write your affirmations here. Maybe you do something on a bucket list, right? I've given you lots of different fun bucket list ideas. So maybe you're going to put something in here that's off the bucket list. Doodles, we have people who do fun, fabulous little doodles. I think that's they do kind of like a little doodle a day. Fun idea to use that. Daily affirmations, my week in reading, make it happen. Here's some some cleaning schedule that they're going to do. Here's some micro habits for a better day, things you can do in the morning, the afternoon, and the evening. So maybe some of these kind of things. Yeah, it's got a lot of really good ideas of different things, right? One of them is take a short walk, 5 to 10 minutes after lunch. Maybe it's slow down, do some calm things before bed, sleeping at the same time, doing the hardest task first, right? The start important work. That's the kind of eat the frog idea, eating breakfast, doing a little stretching, lots of fun ideas there that you can pick from. Then we've got our mind body health plan, right? So different things that we can do for our mind and our body, different ideas. My husband gave me this little meme that came out that said, when I'm dealing with the HOA people, it's like, my patience is like a gift card. I'm not sure how much is left on it, but we can give it a try. So I definitely feel like my patience is definitely a gift card that we're not sure how much is left on it, but sure, we'll give it a try. Um, so here's some fun screen-free hobbies based on your energy level. I think that is so important, right? Depending on if we have some low energy, some medium energy, and some high energy, there's been a lot of research around. We think that scrolling on our phone is relaxing or kind of taking some downtime, but it's not, right? We might be physically resting, but our brain is usually constantly going. So here's some fun things we can do. Maybe play with a puzzle or do some baking, or maybe we're doing some scrapbooking. Maybe we're spending some time in our journal. What I am loving today, a bingo for things that are fun, things you want to do that are fun. Maybe it's simple ways to turn around a bad day. So different things that you might be able to do on each one of these days to help turn around that bad day. Last week of the slow, simple, seasonal nature calendar, today is sit quietly and watch which insects visit a flower. We have a lot of bees and these fun little purple flowers outside, and I love to watch them. So busy, busy, busy gathering their pollen. So it's always kind of fun. It's a fun little calendar to pick things. Maybe we want to do a glimmer bingo, right? Our glimmers are opposite of the triggers, right? Glimmers are those little things that make us happy, make us smile. So maybe you want to pop some different things in there and do a little bingo. These are all some great ideas there. Here's a doodle a day in May. So today, I think, is today the 20, today's the 24th. So it's drawing a little tea bag. I mean, these are fun little ideas. If you're like, I want to draw something, but I want to draw something easy. This gives you some ideas. Yeah, it's so fun to watch bees. They're so busy, so very busy. Um, Maybe you just want to remind yourself no unnecessary spending or staying out of the dollar store. Maybe it's some chores that you want to keep track of. Again, packing list. This person said this week I completed, and they said they started so much and finished so little, but that's okay, right? Sometimes that happens, and starting is at least you started some things, so that's good. And then the I am loving is just whatever's making you happy, whatever you're enjoying. I just finished the book A Dog in Georgia, which is really, really good. And it's about Georgia, the country, not Georgia, the state. And I knew a little bit about Georgia, the country, but not a lot. And so this book was really very interesting. And actually, now I've been kind of like looking at things on Georgia. And now my husband and I are like, maybe we should go visit Georgia next year. Very, very interesting stuff. It's a good book. Um, and then I also really liked this little quote that I found that said, someone told me yesterday that when they feel nervous about trying something new and their heart beats really fast, heart starts beating really fast, they call it their inner applause because their body is cheering them on. And I think that's the best narrative adjustment ever. So I thought that was kind of fun as we talk about getting out of our comfort zone and doing some things. And yes, I finished the hat. I decided to just go ahead and buy the other skein of yarn. And so I finished it. So that's for my mom. That was supposed to be a Mother's Day hat, but I didn't quite have it done in time. But now it's done. So I can give that to her. But yeah, that narration, I think that's such a great reframe, right? Really thinking about this like, I'm scared. I'm trying something new. My heart's beating really fast. It's my inner applause. My body is applauding me, cheering me on to go and do something, right? So I think that's a really fun way to think of it. So I'm going to let you work on that page. Let us know what you're doing in some of these little sections. I'll play just a little bit of music and then we'll keep moving on. All right, believe it or not, we have come to the end of our hour. I don't know how that happens so quickly, but I really appreciate everyone carving out this little bit of time to work on setting up their week, work on kind of coming up with how you want to feel, those goals, those different things that you want for the week. I hope you have a fabulous week. Be sure that you share your weekly planner if you feel comfortable. Those pictures you can see, all of these pictures come from real life Sonder fam members. Love to show these little examples of how people are using their journal, and you never know who you're going to inspire, right, with your pages, so be sure to share those. Wanted to point out Bailey's dropping some different links in the chat there for things that you might need links to, like our YouTube channel. Notice that there is 20% off Memorial Day sale, so you use the code Memorial20. We do have the kids journals, the play, calm, gratitude, and curiosity that are in there. You can use the 20% off on that as well. So maybe it's time to do a little shopping, right? So yeah, Bailey's going to pop that in. I will pop in my Spotify playlist. It has all the songs I played today. I kind of just make one playlist. It has lots of different things that I kind of pick from. So, but all those songs are in there. So you can save that and listen to that. If you need to spend a little more time working on your journal, there's some more instrumental in there. And I hope you have a fabulous rest of your week. Now you're all set up, ready to go. And hopefully we will see you all again soon at another social. So take care, everyone.